welcome to the FGs and Threes podcast. We're back. We got Ryan and Alex with me, and we're back in our video form. Later in the podcast, we're going to be talking to FCF running back Calen Campbell about his journey through the football field and his time in the FCF. He's going into game 3 tonight as we're recording this. It's Saturday, February 27th. So we're going straight into the NBA and the All-Star selections with some really surprising
Brandon Ingram.
And snubs.
Why is Brandon Ingram not there?
Because
Why is he not?
Skinny legend should be in there.
Zion's better, Alex.
Zion is not better. Who do you want at the end of the game when you need a bucket? When the game boils down and it's 98-98 and you need it's the last 2 minutes, defense amps up, they're smacking the ground, they're getting up in your grill. Who's creating that bucket? Who's hitting a double crossover mid-range from the elbow and sticking the pose? That's Brandon Ingram. That's Brandon Ingram. That is not Zion Williams. Zion Williams.
Yes, it is Zion Williams.
I don't know, because Zion is
taking
all
your last
power.
shot? No.
Zion is mainly power. While you have Ingram, he's a little of everything else. He may not have as much power, but he has a lot more.
He is a bucket getter. He is the best player on that team.
So is Zion, though. He shoots 62% from the field this year.
I know, but he's not the best player on that team.
Okay.
62% from the field. Is that including, like, up at the basket, layups and dunks and all that?
Because that's
mainly
fantastic.
what he does. That's why he's shooting so
I'm not saying Zion isn't great. He's not the best player on the team. He shouldn't have been an all-star over Brandon Ingram. If you're going to have a Pelican, you put Brandon Ingram in there.
Yeah.
No, he's averaging 25 and a half. He's 7 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal a game, and about a block a game. Zion is having a great season.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm not
bring up
saying
Ingram's
he's
stats.
not. All I'm saying is he's not the best player on that team.
Brandon Ingram is averaging 24, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and then the same steals and blocks.
Yeah,
but 47%
well-rounded.
He's averaging
47% shooting.
So?
Because he's taking more mid-range.
So his 3-point percentage is better. Zion's averaging 32 from 3.
What's Ingram? What's Ingram averaging?
He's averaging 38. He's
averaging 38.
He's a better. I know that Ingram is a better shooter.
Ingram
is obviously the better shooter.
Zion can get hot pretty quickly and shoot like have a good streak. But if he doesn't get one going, it won't go well.
You also have to think that Zion is going to get more clicks than Brandon Ingram. Zion
that fan vote definitely contributed to him getting in.
They're both having the same,
especially with how much Zion was hyped up last season by SportsCenter and all those.
That was my thing originally. I know that's why he got in, is because they're trying to put their poster child on. They're trying to put their their big face of the league, their upcoming guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with that, but I do have a problem with you putting him over Brandon Ingram, who's the better player. He's like T-Mac to me. That's really what he reminds me of. He looks like T-Mac out there. Have you watched T-Mac,
that's a bold
Ryan?
Claim.
I've watched T-Mac. I've obviously watched T-Mac.
He looks very similar to T-Mac, a tall, lengthy guy.
Honestly, I think he
has the same types of crossovers.
He isn't KD,
he gets
but
he's
giving me glimpses of KD.
KD, but
the scoring ability, he's giving me glimpses. He's giving me just like the skinny, tall frame. He reminds me a lot of KD.
Yeah, he is that too, but he just has that where he'll go one way, pull it back the other way, and pull up right in your mouth, and he'll hit it. That's a lot of T-Mac, a lot of KD type vibes, even old school Brandon Roy type thing. He has that type of game, that McCollum type game. Although a mixture of all those guys, where it's just really silky and smooth and finesse. And he's their bucket getter.
He's just one of those that is just a pure scorer.
Yeah, that's what he does. And I have a problem with it because Zion, man, I know he's phenomenal, and I would love to have him on my team. Obviously, I'm not saying that he's not a great player and he's not having a great season. He ain't Brandon Ingram, man. Brandon Ingram could be the best player on a championship team. And I mean that. He could, if you surround him with great talent, I don't believe so. When it boils down, answer this then. Can Giannis win you a championship as the best player?
Yes, he can.
Okay, well, you just don't watch the game then. You just don't know.
I do.
It hasn't happened yet.
He can't really. Then what happened with the Heat?
He still has the ability.
What
to
happened
do
with
that.
the Heat? Right now,
Okay.
as he is right now, where he doesn't have a low post game, he doesn't have a mid-range game.
He does have a low post game.
No, he doesn't. He has a bully ball game. He doesn't have a KG type where I can turn around and
he ain't watching Giannis this season because he has a low post game. His free throw percentage has gone way up this year.
Good. I'm not talking about free throws. I'm talking about when you need a bucket, and Chris Middleton isn't that guy. Drew Holiday is not that guy. When they need Giannis, take us home to the promised land. I would rather have Brandon Ingram than Giannis.
That's terrible.
That's not terrible. That's
honestly when it comes down to like a last shot kind of scenario, I think Brandon Ingram would be better because Giannis is not known for hitting the three, so you're not going to have him beyond the arc hitting any game winners. It's his mid range is a little iffy too, but like when it comes to the paint, when you want him to drive for like a final bucket, that's who you go to. But when it comes to Ingram, he can hit all three of those.
Exactly. He's a 3-level scorer. Thank you.
3 level, yeah.
He is a 3-level scorer. Ryan, you have a lot of educating to do. You have a lot of educating to do. You need to learn. All right.
Ingram's good, but I'm not arguing that he's not good. I'm not
saying that Ingram is better than Giannis. He's not a better player, but when it comes down to getting a bucket, give me Lou Will over Giannis.
Whoa.
Give me Jordan Clarkson over Giannis. I'm being serious. When I want a bucket, these guys are pure hoopers. They're pure scorers.
No comment. All right.
I mean,
I don't know about Lou Will.
I ain't answering that. We're just gonna move on because.
So you would rather have Giannis take a contested mid-range jumper?
Yes, I would because I trust Giannis. He is a superstar athlete, and he's gotten better every year. He has improved this game in some shape or form.
I will give him that. He has been improving.
Yeah, he has been improving.
He's a 2-time MVP, and he's still improving.
But you can't give him a ball in a situation and say, just get us a bucket.
But it's going to happen one year. It could happen this year.
But that's what I'm saying. Right now, it hasn't happened. If he shows me that,
right now,
I will give it to Giannis. But right now, give me Brandon Ingram. Give me these pure Hooper. Give me Dion Waiters.
Brandon Ingram hasn't showed you anything either, though.
Yes, he has. He gets buckets. He breaks down a guy, shimmy, does his little shimmy shake type stuff, and gets buckets. That's what he does. He is a professional 1v1 scorer in a 5-on-5 basketball league. He takes his defender and makes him look silly and puts up 25 to 27 a game.
And he hasn't made the playoffs yet.
That's not his fault. It hasn't always happened.
But he's a bucket getter and he's good in the clutch, right?
He's great in the clutch, yeah.
Well, now that
Zion's there and he's surrounded with popular guys.
I don't care about regular season clutch. I care about playoff clutch. And yes, I know Giannis doesn't have that.
He hasn't had the ability to get there. Does that mean he's not clutch?
Yeah.
That means he's not clutch. So you're telling me I can't believe you would rather have Giannis in the clutch because we watched him fold against both the Raptors and the Heat, two teams that were arguably worse than his team.
The Raptors were not worse than his team.
Arguably. That's why I said arguably.
Arguably. But they had Kawhi Leonard.
And but the Giannis also had the best offense and a top 5 defense that year.
Yeah, but then he went
best
against
record
Kawhi
in the league.
Leonard. Who was Kawhi Leonard? Or who's going to stop?
He was a bucket getter who broke down the game when it came down to getting buckets, just like Ingram.
Honestly, it's hard to compare Giannis to others because we're talking a lot about power forwards right now.
He's not a pure hooper.
Giannis is power forward. He's going up against a lot of big men. Meanwhile, we're seeing like Brandon Ingram. He can go against big men. He can go against shooting guards. He can go against small forwards. He can go against anybody and still score pretty well.
Can I interrupt? This is turned into a Brandon Ingram versus Giannis. That's not at all. It was supposed to be about all-star snubs.
No. That's the point.
Yeah.
We want this to happen.
Yeah, like this is – I'm not saying I'd rather have Ingram than Giannis. All I'm saying is that Ingram, I would rather have – yeah, for a bucket.
You literally said I would rather have Ingram than Giannis.
At the end of the game. Yes. But I'm saying for an entire season, I'd rather have Giannis for like playoffs.
Lies.
But
there's a difference.
When
Like
it's
how
the last
people say
5
LeBron
minutes,
isn't
when it's
clutch.
like the fourth quarter and stuff, and
You
I
have
just need
LeBron in the regular season throughout the rest of the game. Yeah, absolutely. You'd rather take LeBron, but when it comes to like taking the last
LeBron in the
shot,
clutch too. LeBron has proved that 2018 run where he was just hitting game winners back to back to back to back. Give me LeBron. LeBron's
and he got swept in the finals.
Yeah.
I don't even.
Yeah,
I don't
don't
even
be
blame
one of those
LeBron.
people. Come on, we know that was ridiculous.
Whoa there, Shannon. All right.
Yeah.
Anyone would have lost against them. I mean, that was just unfair.
Yeah, that was except for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They would have beat them.
Speaking of
the Pacers.
Speaking of Ingram.
Speaking of Tatum.
Being like KD. KD is out throughout the entire All-Star break.
Yeah.
And you saw who came in. The great Domantas Sabonis.
Yeah, he should have been.
Sabonis came. Wait. Hold up. Sabonis came in for KD, but Tatum named as the starter.
Yes.
Right.
Questionable. That's very questionable.
Well, then who should have started?
Jaylen Brown.
Thank you. I agree.
Yeah, good point. I actually really would have loved to saw him.
But the problem with that is Jaylen Brown.
Here's my reason. Here's what.
Can I interrupt
was that
real
based
quick
off the
before
fan
you
vote?
go? So Jason Tatum steps in for KD as the All-Star starter. Sabonis gets in as he should have originally.
Oh, was it like he's 27-12 or 24-12?
Yeah, Sabonis should have been in.
No, he's having I think it was 21-12, 22-12, something like that. But and like 5 or 6 assists. I watched him hang like 21-9 against the Celtics, 9 assists. Phenomenal player. Should have been in there already. But what do we think about this Tatum All-Star starter?
I don't agree with that. Because Tatum missed a lot of time, and Brown pretty much led that team for the majority of the time. I would have much rather seen them put in Harden or Brown than Tatum. Now I understand that.
Well, they had to fill in the small forward spot, so I don't think
that was the thing I was going to say.
Harden would have made it.
Who else?
It was a forward spot that they had to get in. Yeah. So it would have been like a Julius Randle. It was not between like Brown or Levine or any of those
Brown
guys.
should have been a small forward.
No, but he got voted in as a guard.
He got voted in as a backcourt. All right.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I would love to see Jaylen Brown start, it's not how it works there.
I would have much rather seen Julius Randle then, because I think also Julius Randle has been.
It would have been a great scene for him to get All-Star starter. He's been playing phenomenal.
If Julius Randle got All-Star starter, that would be the death of me. I would never. Oh my God! All my Knicks fans, all my friends. Holy cow! That would be insane. That would just. I don't know. They'd be like,
even if he didn't deserve it as much, I definitely think Tatum was the number one choice, from the get-go.
Fan vote, as far as it goes for fan vote, for who people like, upcoming guy in the league, face of the league, much like Zion, that he was the pick. He was the clear shot. We got to go with this guy. He's going to be here for the next decade, probably.
And then D-Book, of course, getting in. It wasn't a surprise. We knew he was going to get in, because AD was injured. But the fact that he didn't get in the first place, that he wasn't in All-Star.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. That was I had a problem with that. That was a big problem for me.
Definitely.
I'm glad he got in. I think Brandon Ingram deserved it
over. Do you agree that Chris Paul?
I think Ingram deserved it over Chris Paul.
I think Chris Paul deserved it.
No, I think Chris Paul definitely should have been
16 and 8 and 5. I mean, the numbers don't show everything though, because in the big games he would drop 30 sometimes.
Exactly, because you got to look at Chris Paul. Even if he doesn't put up the numbers, he's going from team to team to team and making them playoff contenders. That's something that should be recognized.
That's a leader. Yeah.
Yeah. You took the Thunder as soon as they lost Russ and everybody else. You brought them to the playoffs.
Right. Yeah,
and you went to go to the Suns. You bring them to the top 5 seed in the West. It's simple.
Yeah, but Paul's been doing this forever, and I just don't think he deserved it over Booker, personally.
I do.
Over Booker?
I think they both should have made it.
Yeah, they both should have made it.
But
But I don't
if you
think,
had to
I don't
pick
think
one,
Booker should have made it over Chris
I'm
Paul.
saying
He should have made it over
either
someone
one would have.
else.
They're both
Either one would have
fantastic.
made it anyway because of what AD is going through. Because so even if Chris Paul didn't make it, people would have been like, Chris Paul, and then they would have put him in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
but what I'm saying is, if you had to pick between, on one hand you got D-Book, on one hand you got Chris Paul, you can only pick one of them. The other one's not going to make it. Who are you going with?
I'd honestly still go with Chris Paul.
I'm going Chris Paul.
Really?
Because he's getting later in his career. People still want to see him in All-Star games. It's always fun to see him in All-Star games.
Yeah, but Book was an All-Star
And
last
he's still
year. He's one of
playing
your
great.
up-and-coming
He's
guys.
playing some of his best basketball.
Hmm.
He's playing some of his best basketball of his career right now with the Suns. He really is. He had a somewhat of a shaky start to the season, but he's really picked things up. And, I mean, he definitely deserves this All-Star spot.
All right, I disagree with you, but
Speaking of the spots, who's going to be the captain now for the East?
probably
KD is
Giannis
gone.
or Embiid. Probably between those two. Wouldn't you agree?
Probably,
I think.
Joel. I would think Embiid.
Yeah, well, I think Embiid's MVP frontrunner right now. I think he's going to win MVP. He's been the best player in the league this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's, again, I'll say it again. He's been playing like Hakeem.
Yeah.
And Hakeem was kind of a good center. You know, he wasn't anything too special, just 2 rings to Houston or something.
Yeah.
So probably the best big man ever
Yeah.
Yeah.
behind Shaq.
I'd take Hakeem over Shaq.
Joel Embiid, yeah, I mean, he's just okay. Well, you're insane, but I mean, Joel Embiid, he's just been dominating. I mean, you watch the games, and he just plays with his foot out there. That's the best way to describe it. I mean, he sets up the center. He sits in that post. He goes like this. He catches that ball. He looks behind him. He goes, "Oh, okay, you small." And then he go for it again, but he steps it back and just gets a little floater. I mean, he can score any way in the post. He can shoot the 3 ball if he really wants.
He can shoot the mid-range
I like
as
what
well.
Doc's doing over there.
That's
He can
like
shoot
the most
mid-range.
that's
He can
the
just
most I see
pull
out
up
of
and
him
just
when like comparing him to Hakeem is his post game.
Yeah.
It's not just like brute force,
Oh,
like
his post
slowly
game is
drive
just-
in back to the basket. He can do
It's
anything
finesse.
in that
It's
vicinity.
finesse. It's all
No
footwork.
one-
It's all I'm gonna be like better than you. I'm gonna fool you. I'm better than you.
Doc Rivers has brought old school basketball back to Philly.
Mhm.
This is what they needed. Ben Simmons being an all-star, he deserves to be an all-star. He really does. I mean, defensively, he's one of the best wings in the league. Wings, I guess.
Yeah.
He
Kind
can
of.
guard anyone. He can guard anyone
1 through
from point
5.
guard to
Yeah.
power.
1
One
through
of, that's
5.
one of those rare.
I wouldn't say
rare,
center.
No, he
I
can
wouldn't say
guard
he guards
center.
center because
I watched him guard
he could, but
Tristan
He's what,
Thompson.
6'10"?
He can,
he's
6'10". So he could technically guard Bam Adebayo. Would I trust him? I would rather put Embiid in, but I mean, he could.
But yeah,
he
like
can,
with Embiid, he doesn't have to guard 1 through 5, especially if you got Embiid. You won't have to guard 1 through 5 because
exactly
5 is already good.
because Embiid.
So you could
Embiid
just-
got the center. And
Yeah,
then
you could
Simmons
just stick
guards the best
Simmons.
player.
You could just stick Simmons on the best player that's not a center.
Yeah.
That's basically what
And
it is. You're
Tobias
just like-
Harris Tobias Harris is finally living up to his contract.
He's
Doc
always-
Rivers-
Not even.
Tobias
He's
Harris
always
is
like very
flourishing.
quiet in the
his-
background, but he's an incredibly good player for almost every single team he's been on.
Yeah.
Tobias Harris is actually living up to his contract. I mean, he's getting about what was it, $34 million a year to just
Something like that.
And
It's
the
big
la-
because he was doing so well before he came there. They thought, let's give him a big contract.
well,
But he's
game.
finally living up to it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Doc Rivers knows what to do with him. I mean, he had his best game or his best year of his career with Doc Rivers out in LA. I
Mhm.
think it was 2015, 2016, somewhere
That was
like
like
that.
2017.
Yeah, it was a little later.
27, yeah, even 2017. He got paid from Philly, went there for 2 years. What didn't do anything. Now Doc Rivers is back again. And look, I mean, Harris is defensively, he's gotten better. Offensively, he's turned to a threat. I mean, and then that whole Sixers roster in general, this could be a finals roster.
What I'd say is
This
like
is
he's a shooting guard in a power forward's frame.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I was just gonna say. He plays so much like a guard, but he's a big guy.
Yeah.
So he can guard anyone too.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Now he won't guard the best.
That's what's so good about the Sixers. You have so many people that can guard so many positions. So it's never it's one of those teams like where if you need to switch, there's no problem with it. If you need to switch off a man, there's no problem.
Especially
Ben Simmons
especially when the playoffs
go over and take on the power forward, while Tobias goes over and takes on the shooting guard. Ben Simmons goes over to guard the small forward. Then Embiid comes over to guard the power forward, and Tobias.
Well, Embiid's going to guard the center.
It's
going
Embiid
will guard the center. That's good.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Matisse Thybulle defensively too. He's still a threat for them. Now, granted, offensively,
he's not. Yeah, offensively, he's like he reminds me of Andre Roberson from the Thunder.
Yeah,
where he's just a defensive stud.
He's a 3-and-D player because he can shoot.
He's not a 3-and-D. No, he's a D guy. He's not a 3.
Thybulle has no offense. Thybulle has no offense.
He's a terrible shooter. He's a terrible slasher. Doesn't have a mid-range. Doesn't have a post game. Doesn't have any lick of offensive talent. He's just an absolute beast. It's just saying, I'm gonna not let you get by me. Obviously there's footwork involved. Like you got to be able to be fast laterally. But he just has that mindset where it's like Avery Bradley almost, like where he just shuffles his feet, stays in front of the guy, doesn't care if they make him look silly. He's gonna get back up right in your face the next play.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way he plays, but no offense.
He doesn't even he obviously man on man. He's good. He's great defense, but I think he plays better in the 2-3 zone because in the 2-3 zone he knows that pass is coming and he's licking his chops. He's going, it's fried chicken. It's fried chicken. And then that pass comes, and you get that fried chicken, and then he's lobbing it up to Ben Simmons. So
is that the defensive version of barbecue chicken?
No, it was
on that note. On that note.
But I really think the 76ers team is scary. I mean, they're bringing it back. This is the 94-95 Houston Rockets. But today,
with Ben Simmons,
it almost is because you can think of Ben Simmons as a Clyde Drexler.
No,
exactly.
Guard he's a small forward. Same with what Clyde played during that season.
Clyde was a
shooting guard.
Stop this! The audacity to say Ben Simmons is Clyde Drexler. Clyde Drexler was one of the best shooting guards.
I'm not telling him he's on the same par as him, but that's what it looks like as a team.
You just said.
He's
I'm
not
saying he's the same exact talent level as Clyde, but that's how it looks like as a team. Clyde was a small forward that can guard everything.
Green is Seth Curry.
He was a shooting guard, dude. Come on, man.
No, he played small forward that year.
Danny Green and Seth Curry too. I mean, those two were two huge acquisitions that the 76ers got. I mean, this team is scary. And honestly, the only team I think that could beat them is the Nets. But even then, I don't know because who the hell's going to stop Joel Embiid? He's just going to drop 50, 20 every day. That's
the one thing. That's the one thing the Nets are lacking since they got Jared Allen, a center. On that note, we're gonna move on to this week. We had the honor of interviewing Calen Campbell, an FCF running back, who is making a word for himself in the league right now. He already had a player of the week in the first week. Was just drafted again in the first round to the Glacier Boys, and me and Ryan got to sit down and talk with him about his FCF career and his career before the FCF. So take a look, and we'll be right back to the podcast. Here today, we are actually joined by the FCF running back, Calen Campbell, who is now an undefeated FCF running back, is a 2-0 with 2 different teams right now. And he's just here to join us, talk a bit about his career, his time in the FCF, and just a little bit of everything. You took your talents to the Indoor Football League, the IFL. And your first couple seasons was with the Sioux Falls Storm.
Yes, sir.
And you, in your second year there, I believe, you went straight to the championship with them, and you took home the trophy with them.
Yes, sir. So Oh, I'm sorry. So first, it was my first year, it was my rookie year with the Sioux Falls Storm, and just came into a spot that was a pretty good spot. Coming in into the IFL, Sioux Falls Storm is a perennial winner in the IFL. So it was amazing just to go out there and get around Coach Riggs, who, many regard as the Bill Belichick of the IFL, and getting around, players like, Lorenzo Brown, and Claude Davis, Lawrence Martin, guys that have this type of experience, and also guys that came in just like me, who ballers. My roommate there, Kent Shelby, was a receiver that had some NFL traction at first, but then ended up going into the IFL just like me, and he ended up doing his thing. And it's so many others that I can name when I was in Sioux Falls. Chris Taylor, my guy, O-lineman, Matt McCoy, safety, whose season was kind of cut short a little bit. But there's so many guys I could name that come to my mind. But it was amazing, to go there and step into a winning situation, because not everybody has that opportunity,
Yeah, no matter what league you're in, like holding the championship trophy is definitely it's a big thing. So how was that for you? Like coming right in and just right away winning it all, coming right in.
Well, for me personally, it was great, because I had just left about 3 seasons of about 3 to 4 win seasons, when I was at Lindenwood. So to kind of just hit a perennial winner in the league was like a breath of fresh air. It was great. It was great. Like I said, I enjoyed my time at Lindenwood, but winning was hard to come by when I was there. So
a whole different feeling.
Hitting the team right off the bat, my rookie year, and we win the championship. Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Yeah, because it wasn't like. Oh, go ahead.
I was just wondering, like, what was the experience like in the around the locker room, and like with the coaches from going from college and like all these different sports leagues? Like, is there like any like real difference that you like noticed, or
from speaking from college to pro? Most definitely, I would say college has more of a locker room atmosphere of kind of, it's more brotherhood like. And I'm not saying, because of course it varies through many of the pro teams that you go to. Of course, football, there's going to be a brotherhood atmosphere. But especially going to a small D2 school like I did, there wasn't so much of a business aspect portion to it. When you cross that threshold over to pro football, it's pro football. It's exactly how it sounds. So there's gonna be more business, and there's business aspects in the college arena as well. Especially the higher you go to in college, Power 5 or really Division 1 just in general. But and also D2, there's still some business aspects to it, but not like pro football. But it's still it's all a great experience, and I'm blessed. I'm thankful for both of the experiences.
Yeah. So as soon as you get into the pros, that's when the contracts start coming in. That's when like some of the players they start developing some of their egos and everything, and then you sort of got like a mismatch of people, but it can turn into something good or bad, really depending on how other people deal with it. So, like I said before, you're 2-0 in the FCF, with of course how the FCF works. They redraft every week on a Wednesday with 2 different teams. How is that aspect of just going to a different team each week and learning how to play with all the other players that you were playing against one week, you're playing with the other? How is that aspect of the FCF?
Man, it has been a really interesting experience, to tell the truth. But when I say interesting, I think it's exciting. It kind of leaves you on your toes a little bit. Not knowing specifically where you're going to be drafted and who you're going to be with. And of course, everybody talks about chemistry. I talk to my parents, and, my dad will bring up, having chemistry and cohesion is the name of the game in football. And that's important. But there is a different type of excitement that's being brought to the game. Us kind of being on our toes and not necessarily knowing who we're going to be with. And I know for the past 2 weeks, I've been playing alongside some ballers. My first week
being
able to play with, the receivers like Rashad Floyd and Doug McNeil, and much of those guys on the edge. That's the reason I was able to get into the end zone, and the guys up front, the guys up front like Jalen Fly Sadler and JB. Huge shouts out to them. And last week I was able to play with David, DP, franchise tag, Andrew Jamil. We call that man Jukebox. Turpin, my dog Turk, human highlight reel, basically. Man, well, I've been able to play Joseph Boykin. I could go down the list. There's so many ballers that I've been able to play with, and everybody's good here. There's so many guys. I could just go down the list. So, and it's just kind of like, man, I just sit back and I'm just excited. I'm like, ooh, where am I gonna go this week? What team of ballers I'm gonna be with this week, and just go on from there.
Now, of course, the league is always about changing stuff and constantly changing rules, fans changing rules, the owners changing rules. What are some things that you've noticed in the first 2 weeks that you would like changed or that you'd like modified?
That's a good question, Jaden. The length of the game. I'll say the length of the game would be something. Of course, we're working out the kinks with the fans, calling in the plays and things of that sort. In the time between that,
especially with the running clock for most of the time,
it
goes by real fast.
With the running clock, the length of the game, which of course, an hour-long game, of course, from a health aspect and just our legs being saved, is cool and everything. But of course, we're all competitors, so we want reps. We want reps. And of course, me being biased, I'm a running back. Hey man, the fans call some more running plays.
Yeah.
We get a little bit. I know the game the fans want the game to be exciting, and we want the game to be exciting as well. But hey, we got some big dogs in that backfield that are ready to tote that ball. So I say those are probably the two things.
All right. I have one big last question that I want to throw out, like a couple rapid fire. So on your Instagram, you said 2020 was a rough year for everybody. You had a bit of you've had some just like everybody has during the quarantine, ups and downs. You found yourself. You've found a lot of things out. What were some of the things that you had to overcome and get through during the quarantine?
This is you coming with the questions, Jaden. Really good questions. So many things. I look back at 2020, and it was a tough year, but it was also a beautiful year. I grew so much in so many of my friendships. you know, my relationship with the Lord, and also many of the things that I had to overcome, of course, was, you know, being at home, having to really get creative with especially when quarantine first started. And I know y'all remember how it was, things were shut down.
Mm-hmm.
I remember having to be really creative with my workouts, having to do home workouts.
Yeah.
You know,
Just
jogging around the neighborhood.
everything.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, man, like, but I made it work. And so many, you know, I'm pretty sure many of my teammates did the same thing. Just having to overcome, you know, being locked down and really finding how to still progress in the goals and the purpose that I feel like the Lord has really placed in my life. And also really just a lot of the things that were going on outside of football as it pertains to, you know, social justice,
Mm-hmm.
and in the virus in and of itself as well, and everything, just still keeping a level head throughout that. You know, there were days just being in despair over many of the things that were happening to Black bodies, guys that
Mm-hmm.
look just like me. And of course, this is something that's been going on for years and years and years. But being able to see how people are now coming from an aspect of the outpouring of realizing, and of course we're not there yet. We're not there yet by any stretch of the imagination. But there's still so much to do, so much progress to be made.
Mm-hmm.
But just seeing that, and now it really coming to a head last year was tough. It was tough to see it, and it's still tough, still to this day. But you know, just really being able to overcome that, and overcoming the effects of that mentally, and just continuing to progress through that. I think those are really some of the biggest things that I think that I could take away from 2020. The things that I had to overcome personally, and just, you know, being able to be like, you know, back at it.
Yep.
Still here playing football.
We keep 100% for when you finally get back to normal. Yeah, for sure. Like, so I'm thankful. I'm thankful for everything that I had to encounter in 2020. And it's made me who I am today in 2021. So I look back at 2020, I'm like, yeah, it was hard, but it was beautiful at the same time. For all the hardships that everybody went through, something you always came out with it with a lesson, or like something learned, and always it really helps to further yourself as a person.
Yes, sir. That's right on point, Jaden. That's right on point.
So I wanted to end it off with a couple of quick fire, rapid fire questions, like short little fun ones to end it off. So what is one play or route that when it's called, you just know in your head, this is going to be a big one just every time? What's one like solid one that you know it's going to be a banger?
35, 36 whirly bounce. It's kind of like an offset play. It's the 35 bounce was the really the two plays that I scored off of the first week. And we're kind of offset, and we kind of get the progression of it is I kind of get downhill with the handoff, and I have a option to either cut it outside, or if that end works over the top, I could cut it back inside. So the way that the guard blocked it, of course, I was able to cut it outside. So both times, but I'm itching to cut it back inside a little bit too. But Plays like that, yeah. I would say 30, 35, 36 whirly bounce. Those are the plays where I'm kind of that bell's kind of ringing in my head, like, oh, this could be something right here. This could be something for sure.
Especially in this league with there's very few people in the backfield, so there's a lot of room to really do some work in there, especially with a outside kind of run like that.
Right. I'm just licking my chops, you know. Yeah.
So I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but what was one of your like all-time favorite teammates to play with? Like one that was just always just made you better whenever you were playing with them?
Wow. You come with the questions. This is really good. It's so many guys that I could just put my finger on that just made me better. As a player, really as a person. I throw it back, but if I had to pinpoint anybody, I would say it was, and I actually grew up with this guy. I would say it's a guy named Landry Tulo, and I'm still bros with him to this day. He was a linebacker. He's a defensive coordinator at a local school back home where I'm from. And this man, I remember I used to go over to his house, or his apartment. He stayed right up the street from me, and we would play NCAA. And just seeing, even at a young age, this was like when we were in 7th grade, just seeing how at a young age, his understanding of football, it was off the charts. And I could tell, and when I look back at it in hindsight, I'm like, yeah, he was, I should have known back then he was going to be a coach. But just his passion for the game, his knowledge of the game, it was like bar none. And just as a guy, you know, even to this day, he inspires me how he's now coaching, but now he's not only coaching, but pouring into the lives of young kids and young kids that look like me, you know, as well. You know, Landry Tulo, I say, if there's and of course you say you didn't want to put me on the spot. There's so many other guys that I could name too, but the one that came to my head was my dog Landry. So yeah.
That's almost the same with me and Ryan, because I started playing Madden 20 just the other last year, and like I went in knowing like bare minimum about like calling plays and everything. Within like the end of the year, I knew like everything there was to the game. I'm still learning about it too, and he helped me out like perfectly immensely. And to end it off with
I play Madden. I play Madden like it's actual football. So like I just look at. Well, I mean that's how I do it too. Like even when I play center now, I scan the field. I see where the safeties are going. If one comes, I go, okay, he's coming. Someone's coming from that side. So, I mean, I love that. I love football.
Smart player.
Smart
player, man. I should have, man. I should have been playing behind you as well, bro. You feel me?
My coach said I can start calling the mic, so I'm very excited.
After that level.
Yes, sir. We like that. Yeah, you my type of guy, Ryan. You're my type of guy.
Thank you. It's funny because a lot of freshman running backs last semester, they're like, I'm gonna just hide behind you. Because I'm just like so big. I just like surround the guy. Yeah, I'm 6'. Here, I'll stand up if you wanna.
Yeah, bro, for sure. Oh yeah, for sure. I'm just gonna sit there. Yeah. I'm just gonna sit there. I'm gonna get that ball and I'm gonna just push on your back. You know what I mean? Just be like, hey, bro, like,
especially,
you know what I'm saying?
Especially playing that run zone read kind of offense. Just sit behind me. I'll bring it to the backers.
Oh yeah, come on, yeah, double team. We like that. Okay, yeah, okay. And then once you get up to that, work up to that linebacker, boom, you know. That's it.
I love whenever I get to the linebacker, I just look to my right. I see the running back go like, yes.
Yeah,
I did go.
Best feeling in the world.
it.
Just see the running back go. One safety
That's
to
it.
beat, and you know he's more talented than him.
That's it.
Absolutely. Well, both of us definitely appreciate you coming here. This was a great interview, great time. Thank you so much for joining us, and we appreciate it.
Well, man, I appreciate y'all, man. I have fun, and man, y'all have a good one. I hope y'all have a great week, man. And
You too, and I can't
Thank
wait
you.
to see
You too.
Saturday.
All right, brothers.
Thank you again for joining us, Calen. That was a great interview. If you want to see the full 40-minute interview, it'll also be up on our page, and you can also see little tidbits of it on our Instagram page. And once again, thank you again. We look forward to talking to you in the future. And to move on, we've seen this past couple weeks, we've seen Cam Newton at his camp with a little troublemaker.
I mean, that's one word for him.
Well, yeah, what? He goes to his
Fucking
camp.
asshole. He's an asshole.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah.
No way
He's
around
the embodiment of the prick.
You go to Cam's camp, and you go and just
wait,
insult him.
wait.
You
Wait,
go
wait,
to
wait.
man's camp
Let
and you
me
insult
start-
him. You don't do that. Oh, geez.
Let's start with this.
Go
The guy paid to go to Cam's camp, right?
Yeah.
Wait,
The
did
kid,
anybody
whatever.
hear me just fart into the camera?
No. What's staying in? All right, go ahead, Ryan. What was your anecdote or whatever you wanted?
What was your analysis of farting into the camera?
your analysis?
Oh,
No, what
kid-
are we talking about with Cam's
the
camp
kid
and trip?
paid the kid. Okay. The kid paid to go to Cam's camp, right?
Mhm.
He didn't have to,
Mhm.
but
This was
or
an
he didn't
opportunity
need to.
for him.
But he wanted to. Yeah, he wanted to better himself in the football world. He wanted to get his name out there.
Mhm.
And instead of going out there and doing it on the field, he talks shit to Cam.
He tries to
disrespected
get his
Cam,
5 minutes or his 15 minutes of fame.
which is exactly what he got.
Yeah.
But it wasn't what he wanted, because now everyone's like, yeah, I want
We're not going to see him
prove
for
him.
his skills now. They're going to see him as the arrogant prick that talk bad about
because
Cam Newton as on Cam.
He's talking bad to Cam Newton after one bad season with the Patriots, even though
Mhm.
this man was a Heisman Trophy winner. He has counted countless battles to just even be in the NFL. He's the
Super Bowl
2015
50?
NFL MVP, and he played in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And just to totally disregard him and just be like, you're trash, you're garbage, you're a bum. Like, it's
do
disgusting.
that.
Yeah,
And
you don't
Cam
do
Newton-
that.
Cam Newton didn't even have to go. He voluntarily gave time away from his life to
Mhm.
go and show up with these kids and like meet up and like, because that's what like he wants to do. He wants to show these kids like how to build character and how to like be good at football,
Mhm.
because he cares about football. And this kid just going to his camp and completely disrespecting him, it's disgusting. And if I was a college coach, not even NFL scout, but a college coach, I would not want that kid on my team.
You do not want.
I don't
Nobody wants
even
any of that.
I don't even care about the apology. He had the apology because his mom probably screamed at him the whole way home. She's like, "You're a complete dickhead for talking shit to Cam Newton, the guy's camp you just paid for."
So Deshawn Watson has recently came out and said he wants to be traded to either the Jets or some other bum teams. Doesn't really matter.
No. He said he wants to be traded to the Broncos, the Bears, or the Panthers. And he met with Nick Easterby and Nick Caserio. So he met with Nick Caserio early in the offseason before they had the head coach. And he said, nothing against you. I just don't want to play with this organization anymore. And Cal McNair said, we're not trading him. Deshawn then said he wants to play for the Broncos, the Bears, and the Panthers. This was a little bit after they got Zach Esterby, which again, he wanted Eric Bieniemy. They wanted him to interview Eric Bieniemy. They didn't initially until he complained. They then went back, interviewed Eric Bieniemy, still didn't hire him for some reason. I don't know why Eric Bieniemy just doesn't have a coaching job. He's a fantastic coach. It still boggles me that he doesn't. So they don't get the head coach he wants. They definitely didn't get the GM he wanted because he doesn't want
your star players. Because in the process of like Deshaun meeting with all these people, JJ's gone, so you lose another one of your stars.
Johnson got cut. Their starting center got cut. So they traded DeAndre Hopkins for a second-round pick. They traded Laramie Tunsil, or they traded away Dwayne Brown. I mean, ever since Deshaun has gotten to this team, they have completely destroyed the team around him. And I don't blame him for leaving. And
it's not a
the
situation
fact that
any player wants to be in.
Even so, 2 days ago, he met with Esterby because, he wanted the respect to just meet him. And I guess Esterby tried to convince him to be with the Texans, and he straight up just told them, it's not that I have beef with you or Nick Caserio. It's just that I cannot play for Cal McNair. I don't want to play under Cal McNair because he has done nothing to help me. And Cal McNair still comes out and says, hey, we're not trading him. And at this point, I don't think Deshaun Watson will get traded at all. I think he's going to sit his 3 years in Houston and just waste his career. And
because he already said he's sitting out the first 4 preseason games. He said he does.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean waste his career by like just sitting out. I mean, obviously he'll probably still be in great shape. And,
yeah,
I mean, he's gonna play football. He's gonna practice football. It's just that he's not gonna be playing, which is the one thing we all want to see. Deshaun Watson, he's a top 3 QB in the league.
I think he's the second best behind Mahomes. And there's an argument, if he was drafted by the Chiefs, maybe he is Mahomes. There's an argument, maybe he would be as successful. This is a guy who's obviously, like you said, a top 3 QB. I mean, even if you want to go lower than that, he's no lower than top 5. I mean, this is a generational guy who, when surrounded by the right things and the right people, the right culture, he can bring you in a title. He can win a chip.
And you already know the Texans are losing money.
The Texans,
you got rid of your top 3 players. No fan revenue is going to come in once fans are allowed back. People are not going to want to come and see that.
And they're botching this trade. They honestly should trade Watson. They need draft compensation. They need to just restart as a franchise.
They need it after they wasted all the draft compensation they got from Tunsil and D-Hop and everybody. They basically wasted all for nothing. And now you have a quarterback that doesn't want to stay there.
Deshaun's asking price. I mean, if Matthew Stafford can go for 2 first-round picks, Deshaun could easily go for 4.
Yeah, 4.
Easily for 4. And the fact that Cal McNair is not jumping at this, I mean,
they could easily go straight into rebuilding, and that's
Christian McCaffrey and 4 first-round picks, and he's not saying yes to that. It's incredible.
Well, that's how good Watson is, though. That's just how good he is. Because does McCaffrey even get you 4 wins? What'd they get? 4 or 5 wins this year?
McCaffrey was injured all year, so it doesn't even matter.
I know, but how many wins did the Texans get this year? Like 5?
4.
4? Does McCaffrey, when healthy, get you 4 wins with that team?
Probably.
Come on.
They got the Panthers. What? How many wins did they get this year? Like 4 or 5?
I mean, they got 5, but McCaffrey was injured for all their wins.
Yeah. So without him,
he only played. I think he only played like 3 games.
Like that.
That's my point.
He only played 3 games, and 2 of them were against the Bucs, and one I think was just week 1 where they lost because they just weren't talented. So, I don't know.
Thank you, everybody, for watching the very first FGs and 3s podcast back. We got, as you can see, we got a new logo and everything. Thank you again to Calen Campbell for allowing us to interview him. It was a great interview. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And once again, the full 40-minute interview will be up on our website. You can find us on YouTube And you can find us on Instagram at FGs and threes, FGS and 3S. And thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Have a good one.
See ya.
See you later.